What's up, everybody? It's Ra'Shaud Buie back again for another episode of Ballin Buie, where I cover the hottest topics in sports, especially if it's OU related. And today it is OU related. Big matchup in the Big 12 basketball. Number 12 Oklahoma going on the road to take on 14 West Virginia. So let's dive in. OU coming into the game, third in the Big 12, sitting at 7-4 in the league, and West Virginia is second, sitting at 7-3 in the league. Both teams were 3 seeds coming into the game, and the bracketology, well, not in the bracketology, NCAA officially dropped their potential seeding for the tournament, and they had OU and West Virginia both at 3 seed. OU won the first meeting 75-71, which they were up big in that game, about 18, I think, and then West Virginia ended up crawling back in it, but OU held on for the win, and the big story in that game was Mo Gibson hit 8 threes. But to this game, start the game, Derek Culver. You know, you're going to talk about him. West Virginia's playing. He had 8 points real quick and 4 boards in about the first 6 minutes of the game. And he only had 11 points in the last 3 games that he's played against OU combined. And he picked up 8 quick wins in this game. OU off to a slow start, only shot about 30% midway through the first half, but they were able to keep it close. And West Virginia kind of shot poorly also. They only shot 1 for 8 from 3-point range. So they were shooting a lot of threes and missing them, while OU was missing all of their shots. So the score didn't get out of hand too quickly. But Alondes Williams played in this game. He hasn't played since January 26th against Texas. He sat because of COVID-related issues, and then he didn't play against Iowa State in their last game, which was last Saturday, because they haven't played the entirety of the week. But first half, Austin Reeves, OU's leader, picks up 2 quick fouls. Not 2 quick fouls, but he had 2 fouls in the first half. But he ended up playing last couple minutes with those 2 fouls. And then Harkless, he led OU in the first half with 7 points, 6 boards. Wasn't a lot of scoring in the first half, real quiet on both sides, except for Culver. I mean, he was the main man. He had 13 and 9 boards. He almost had double-double just in the first half. But OU was up by 3 with a couple seconds left, and Harmon drove the lane, and he lost the ball, and then McBride ends up getting it, dribbling it just a little bit past midcourt, and hits the 3 at the buzzer to knot it up at 31-all, going into the half. Start the second half, Austin Reeves started real hot. He scored 8 straight for OU in the first 4 minutes of the half. Then about halfway through the half, Reeves, Manick, Harkless, and Williams all had 3 fouls. So they are all in foul trouble for the majority of the game, but that didn't seem to be an issue for the entirety of the game, but they were in foul trouble. OU built a 7-point lead, but West Virginia was able to keep it close. OU had a couple costly turnovers, and West Virginia capitalized on them, turning them into points. There was about 10 minutes left in the second half. OU was up 56-51, and then soon after that, they went on a 10-4 run to push it to their largest lead of the game at 66-57. They were up by 9, but then West Virginia answered right back with an 11-2 run to tie it with about 4 minutes left in the game, tied it up at 68. And McNeil was really hot in the second half. He hit several threes. I don't remember how many he hit. Might have been 4 or 5. But he was real quiet in the first half, but he was popping off in the second half. We couldn't stop him from deep. He did miss a couple wide open looks, though, but he hit several big shots for him. But he scored 13 straight for West Virginia during that time and helped them grab a 72-70 lead with about 2 minutes left. And OU, in the last possession, not the last possession, but about a minute left in the game, OU allowed 2 offensive rebounds, and West Virginia scored on both of them. And then OU was up 70-72, or West Virginia was up 70-72, and then Gibson ends up driving the lane, hits a layup to tie it up at 72-all. And then West Virginia goes down to the end of the floor, misses a shot at the buzzer, so it goes to overtime, tied at 72. Start the overtime, Reeves and Manick had 4 fouls, and then Harkless ended up getting his 4th foul really early in the overtime period. But it was close the entirety of the overtime. OU was up 79-77 with about a minute left, and they had the ball. Reeves ended up turning it over on that possession. He traveled, and then you go back down to the other end. McNeil missed a 3, and then got the offensive board, and then put it up and scored. Second chance points were big for West Virginia at the end of the second half, the first overtime period. That's how they scored the majority of their points in the overtime period. They had 3 scores just off of second chance points because OU could just not get the boards. I mean, we don't really have a big board guy. Kirkworth doesn't really play too much, and Brady Manick, he's not going to get you any boards. I don't really know what Brady Manick's doing right now. I'll get into that in a minute. But still in that overtime period, Reeves on the other end missed a 3, and then it ends up going to a double overtime, tied up at 79 all. And to start the second overtime, on the tip, it got tipped to Mo Gibson, and then Mo Gibson tipped it to Harkless, who ends up putting it up for a layup and an and one, and converts it the 3-point play. Harkless ended up fouling out in the second overtime period, trying to box out Culver in the paint on the defensive end of the floor. But when he fouled out, West Virginia was up 86-85. And about a minute left, score goes up a little bit to 88-87. West Virginia was still up at that point. And then Reeves drives the lane. He was fouled on the drive. He hit both free throws to go up, put OU up 89-88. And then McBride on the other end hit a layup to put West Virginia back up by 1, 90-89. And then back on the other end of the floor, Austin Reeves again. He had a big game. He had a big day. It was a really good game for him. He hit a floater to put OU back up with about 25 seconds left. And then go back down West Virginia's ball. And Kirkwaith came up big. He didn't play too much. He wasn't really impactful when he was in the game, but he came up big on the defensive end because Culver tried to hit a layup and Kirkwaith blocked him, and it went out of bounds on Culver. That gave OU the ball. But then, it was about 7 seconds left. Then, idiotically, don't know what OU was doing. It was Davion Harmon who did it. We inbound the ball, and Davion Harmon gets not stuck in the corner. He had plenty of space, but he turns into the West Virginia player that allowed him to grab the ball. And then they tie it up. You had a timeout. We could have called, anyone on the floor could have called timeout. Harmon could have been yelling timeout, and he didn't. And it gives West Virginia the ball. You turn the ball over with 7 seconds left. Well, not 7 seconds left by the time it was tied up. But you turn the ball over, and that critical moment, you can't do that. That could have cost OU the game. I'm surprised it didn't. But to finish out the game, West Virginia it didn't capitalize on the possession. They just I don't even remember what happened. Oh yeah, they inbounded the ball and then it went out of bounds off of OU, and then they got the inbound again with about 3.5 seconds left. And then Culver missed a layup, and then he got his board and kind of rushed his next shot and missed it again. And OU barely hung on to win. I don't know how we hung on to win because we gave up a ton of offensive boards, especially in the second half, first overtime period and second overtime period. We could not box out. A lot of it might have been due to Brady Manick having 4 fouls, so he was scared to play defense because Culver was dominant. He whooped him all game. Brady Manick was terrible on defense. He was playing real soft. I mean, he plays soft anyways, but once he got in foul trouble, he played real soft. And if you're scared to pick up a foul, that's understandable, but you can still play good defense without fouling, and he wasn't playing good defense the entirety of the game, really. But OU hung on to get the victory, 91-90. Big win for OU that pushes us in the second place in the Big 12, drops West Virginia down to third. We'll see if we can hang on to that second spot. I mean, Big 12, it's hard to get that second spot, even the third spot, and it's a tough conference. Well, we got Texas next, so we'll see how that game goes. But Austin Reeves, he had a great day, finished with 28 points, 7 assists, and 9 boards. And then Mo Gibson had 21. He was 5 of 10 from 3. Once again, he was hot. And then all 5 starters ended up scoring double digits. I think 11, 12, and 13. Maybe I don't remember the exact numbers. But OU's beaten West Virginia 4 straight times. They swept them last year. They swept them again this year. Like I said, moves OU up to second in the Big 12 standings. Overall, it was a good game by OU. Besides on the boards, they gave up a lot of boards, and we don't really have anyone that could get those boards. So I guess you just gotta let that be. Let it be what it is. But yeah, we'll see if we can keep the train rolling. We dropped 1 game, I think, in the last 6 or 7 games. That was to Tech, obviously. But yeah, we'll see what happens when we play Texas next. But maybe this win, maybe if we can beat Texas, maybe that jumps us up to a 2 seed. I don't know. If we can finish the season strong, only drop maybe 1 game out of the last couple games, maybe we can somehow grab a 2 seed. I mean, we're sitting at a 3 seed. I didn't think we'd be that high right now, but they got us at a 3, so I'll take it. And that's all I got for today. Like always, consider sharing, subscribing. Catch you later. Deuces.